Hey, Justin Baldoni here. Just wanted to let you know that my next book, Boys Will Be Human, a Get Real Gut Check to Becoming the Strongest, Kindest, Bravest Person You Can Be, is available for pre-order right now. You can go to boyswillbehuman.com. That's boyswillbehuman.com. It comes out October 4th. And I am so proud of this book. It's a book that I desperately needed when I was in middle school and high school. So if you know a boy that is between 11 and 100, I promise you this book is for them. That's boyswillbehuman.com.
Coming up on Man Enough.
Music transports us, takes us to what we could be as a species or as a group. And like comedy reminds us is that we're dumb animals. Like, oh my God, I did do that once. Although to that end, obviously Richard Pryor broke ground and did a lot for race relations, honestly, because he talked about taboo things. I don't have that history because I did not have a tough childhood. I did not grow up in a whorehouse. You know, I did not get discriminated against. So I am someone of privilege, so I should shut up.
Being man enough, what does that mean?
It's really manly to mess up, admit you're wrong, and then grow.
I couldn't accept that I was evil. So maybe I'm broken, but those broken things could be corrected.
Intimacy between a father and a son is me just wanting to like put my head in your lap.
I love you, son.
You haven't called me benevolent sexist, but my experience is women are better.
Even if it's a positive, it's still not equality.
I don't blame men for that. I just blame the system.
This
Is
Man enough.
Hey everybody, welcome to Man Enough. We are back with another episode. We've got myself, Jamie Heath. Who else we got?
Liz Plank.
And Justin Baldoni.
Right, look at that.
I was ready.
Look at us.
Nobody introduced me. You guys did that. I did myself. Now I feel like an ego guy. This is sweet to be back. We have an episode. We got Matt Walsh in our
So
next
excited.
one, right? And he was really, really great. I think the audience is going to love it. He's funny too.
He's so funny.
What did you love about
He's
it,
one
Liz?
of my favorite funny people, and I'm a UCB kid, and he's one of the founders of that theater. But I feel like sometimes I'm too good at taking sad things and making them funny, and it's a little bit of a coping mechanism I need to kind of relax on. And so this weekend, actually, I was gonna send a text to someone that was mad at me, and I wasn't taking responsibility because I knew exactly how to like bring down the tension with a joke. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. And I'm actually proud of myself for not using humor in that situation. It's a good tool,
Good. It's a great
but
tool.
it can be a tool to distance yourself, right?
I think like all
a
tools,
lot of men do that.
all
Yeah.
tools can be used to build or destroy.
Yes.
Right? All tools can be used for good
Exactly.
or for bad. And I think there's a lot of coping mechanisms that we all have.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great thing. The fact that you were acknowledging that you go into comedy or to funny to diffuse situations or to not take accountability is, I think, 90% of the battle.
Yeah.
I'm just jealous that you have that ability to be funny.
No, but it's not funny. It's just goofy.
I love your goofiness, though.
Thanks. I made it with my
I
trauma.
love your goofiness. The only time Jamie says I'm funny is when I'm being socially awkward or like say something that I shouldn't say. You know what he said? What'd you say to me that one time? You said you're like, sometimes you're Gaston and sometimes you're Steve Urkel.
That's right.
No.
Jesus.
It's Stefan. Gaston?
Gaston. You know Gaston from
Gaston from the Beauty and the Beast?
Yeah,
from Beauty and the
sometimes he
Beast.
says I'm
you know,
funny.
just
Gaston.
very,
You
very
do look like
Gaston.
Gaston.
Yeah, he's like Gaston, and he's not like toxic like Gaston, but in
No.
terms of how he looks and
Yes.
the bruteness and all that.
Yeah, and he
Yes.
said, then I can be like Steve Urkel.
He's mostly Steve Urkel in Gaston's body.
But it's because I didn't have a lot of guy friends growing up. So so I just say stupid things sometimes. And then he laughs at me, not with me. And I'm like, oh, I wish I could be more like.
This is one of the things I love and makes you endearing is because you are super athletic, super articulate, very smart, incredibly creative. You are really, really a wonderful person and good looking and all the stuff, right? So the fact that you have this Steve Urkel in you, really underneath all of it, it balances it out a little bit, right?
All right, let's get into the episode now.
Matt Walsh, the guy
Matt Walsh.
that never won an Emmy. You'll get the context when you watch the show.
We'll be right back with 0-time Emmy winning Matt Walsh. This is Man Enough. All right, welcome back to the Man Enough podcast. I am Justin Baldoni.
I'm Liz Plank.
I'm Jamie Heath.
And there's no one here because you've just told him
To just-
to
not talk.
To just pretend like he's not here.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, he's not good with improv. So
I just want to see if we can go 4 minutes without talking.
I'm nervous because we're supposed to improv, and we have the king of improv, just like witnessing.
I'm going to challenge him on that.
this.
We'll see who
Okay.
can. We'll
I
have a
don't know.
little improv
I don't know about
battle
that.
off.
This is the riff that we're doing. I just wanted you to know that this is the riff that he was talking about.
This is it?
This is it.
Yes, but it hasn't been 4 minutes.
Sorry.
Welcome to Man Enough, as you had
Yeah.
said. We're here. What are we doing here, Jay?
We have Matt Walsh with us, everybody.
Hello, everyone. Pleasure to be on the show. Very excited. No complaints so far.
By the way, did he do that okay? Because
Well,
I just want
Yeah, we can go back.
Yeah,
No,
do you-
actually, you know what?
do you want to do
Afterwards,
it
I have
again?
some lessons. We'll do it a little later on. I got some tips.
I
for
could
you.
hang back more. I mean, that's not
I
a problem.
know.
I have no problem being like the sixth man off the bench. less pressure.
'Cause
I
I
made a
was-
career out of that.
I was listening to you talk on your podcast about how the number one thing that kind of people get wrong with improv is that they try and be funny. That's the number one thing you think you have to do in improv. But is that the kind of number one mistake? Is that give us some pointers?
Oh, out of the gate. Well, first of all, thank you for doing research. Did you guys do any
No,
research?
not
you
a
phoned
thing.
it in.
Phoned it in.
I'm a man. I just show
You're
up.
lazy. Yeah,
I
you
just
walk
show
in.
up. That's what I
Well,
do.
Liz, thank you for being a woman who does her work. I think the big improv lessons that I always tell are listen and don't worry about being funny. It's not that you don't have to try to. You can try to be funny, but don't worry about it because it's a collaborative art form. So listening is all about relinquishing your idea and building someone else's.
I love that. I did UCB improv. I did 3 shows at UCB, and meeting you and just being in the same room as you is very special. Matt Walsh plays an amazing character called Mike McClintock in Veep, one of the best shows on earth ever. If you haven't seen it, I'm actually jealous because you get to experience it for the very first time. You're so funny and amazing. You've been Emmy nominated. You're in a new series. No, it's a movie. It's a movie.
With
You're in a
Eva
new
Longoria.
movie with Eva Longoria called Unplugging. You're the founder of Open Book with your wife Morgan, and
I did very little to found that.
Okay.
My wife did most of the work.
There
but
we
yes,
go.
we did found it together.
We love that, where you donate books that are gender affirming for LGBTQ
It is a great cause.
youth. And you have raised, you're one of the founding members of UCB, which we've established. And you also have been raising chickens in your free time.
The chickens. Yeah. During the pandemic, I was going stir crazy. So I, like many men, started making sourdough. I was gifted a starter from Tom Papa, the comic. I named my starter. It's a kind of a thing you name your starter. Mine was called Dovid 19.
Wow.
Pretty cute, right?
It was original. I like that.
Thank you. Good wordplay. And then when that wasn't enough, making sourdough every day, I found out people raise chickens, and I'm like, how does this happen? So I ordered a couple chicken coops on Amazon, and then I realized I'd ordered a rabbit hutch first. It was not quite big enough, so then I just kind of I ordered a big one and built sort of like a shanty town version of a chicken coop. And then I got chickens. And then my wife's like, that's ugly. Our yard is pretty. We're going to knock that down, and we're going to spend money. We're going to spend thousands of dollars, and we're going to hire people to come in and put the chicken coop up.
Wow.
So we did that.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's fun. So
And eggs are expensive. Let's be honest.
eggs are
Eggs
expensive.
are getting, inflation's happening. Eggs are getting more and more expensive.
And it was good for the kids during the pandemic. It gave them something to do, and only my daughter really took to it by the end. The olders didn't really care after a while. And we had many journeys. We lost the first batch. The dogs got into the cage.
Oh,
and
that's pretty traumatic. That's actually
it
pretty
was like
traumatic.
a real farm life lesson.
Yeah.
The cycle of life was very apparent.
Jay, ask him the question.
When was the last time that you didn't feel enough?
Much of the pandemic.
Why?
I think I sort of, like many actors, identify with work and being able to work as a sense of accomplishment and probably a dash of ego and a dash of like secure. There's something secure about going to work because it's what I've done forever. So it's like someone saying, not that this is all you guys do. It's like someone saying, you don't have a podcast anymore. You can't do your podcast. And it was something you love doing. Everybody went through it. So it's not like actors were the only people, but for, I think, actor, artist types, you couldn't really do it. Like sculptors could still sculpt and paint, but like actors need cameramen, and we need each other, and we need makeup people and directors, and we can't all be in the room. And it was this one collaborative art form that apparently wasn't recession proof. Turns out there are versions of a economy where you're not working. So I think struggling to in the best way too, because I think on the other side of it, me personally, I feel like I'm a little better of a person, or a little more balanced of a person, and a little more grounded as a person, and a little more hopefully purpose-driven person. So that would be one of the last times. I mean, we're not really out of it. We're kind of out of it.
Now there's monkeypox, which will not be. We're not talking about monkeypox on this podcast.
Someone said that yesterday, and Liz goes, "What? No, I can't. Too much.
Yeah.
Her brain
I
exploded.
can't. Why do they call it that? They need a new. At least give it a name that's less difficult. We've been through enough. You
Yeah.
know.
MP 22.
MP. I think we should rebrand it as MP 22. Just MP sounds kind of cool. Oh, I got MP.
Okay.
It feels less horrible.
I think I understand what you're saying. Yeah, it sounds like
they like got together and they're like, "What's the worst thing we can call this?"
yeah, it has
To
the
me.
terror of like an outbreak movie.
Yes.
Yeah, it does. It does. It does.
Isn't that a movie?
The
like,
researchers were
yes.
exposed to the chimpanzees.
Yeah, and then the chimp
then-
got out.
So here's
and
a
then
question.
bit someone.
Here's
and
a
then that's
question.
why we have it.
Are we allowed to laugh at that? There is a lot of release that comes, like the pressure gets taken out when you laugh. Because underneath it, the people that have monkeypox are suffering, and of course, it's a real thing affecting a community, and we're not laughing at them. The question, though, is: are we allowed to laugh anymore about these things?
Yeah. How do you make comedy?
How
in 2022?
how can we? Because there's real things happening that are
Yes.
affecting people,
Yes.
and I feel like. And again, I got to be just mindful here, straight white guy with all the privilege in the world saying this, but what are we allowed to laugh at? Because this is a genuine question. I don't know. So I'm asking you, the other straight white guy. But you just have to be good at comedy.
The other white guy, the middle-aged one. Anybody else want to take this one? Anybody?
What are we collectively
Tell us what we are.
I can tell you only
to laugh at?
what it makes me think of. I can't tell you. I have no prescriptive version of what's right to laugh at and what's wrong to laugh at. I have no version of that. So it makes me think of, in a world where true communication is necessary, I think we have to have spaces where, like, the bad version of laughing is to laugh at someone because they have a bump on their head. It's like or they have a prosthetic hand.
Yeah.
Like kids in school would poke fun at someone who had a disability. That's bad laughter, right? Because you're ridiculing someone for something that's out of their control, and it sort of dismisses them in a way that you're not going to engage them or get to know them, perhaps. If I'm still willing to engage someone and someone comes to me in your lobby, your second, there's 4 lobbies here for anyone who's never come to the show. There's like, he might have COVID, keep him out there. Then there's, he can still eat, but he still might have COVID. Then there's like a hallway antechamber. It's like, okay, the COVID's gone, but I don't know if he's funny enough.
Yeah.
And then you're in the room.
Decompression chamber.
Yeah. But if someone in one of the many chambers said, hey man, just so you know, my brother got monkeypox and it isn't a joke, I would be like, I'm really sorry. I didn't know that, and I didn't mean to dismiss the terribleness of what your brother went through, and I would be willing to listen if they wanted to say more. He's like, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what's happened. There's other people going through this. I would be willing to listen to that and go, wow, okay. I wouldn't try to defend my laughter, but I don't know that I would go as far as taking it back and saying I was wrong to laugh in that moment. Because it's an evolving conversation, as long as, or this is how I would navigate answering a big question, is like, what are we okay to laugh at? I would just try to learn from it. And then if I kept getting stimulus from people that said, hey man, no more monkeypox laughter. And my wife's like, honey, you're like 56 years old. You're like in danger of getting canceled. You got to stop laughing at monkeypox. Then I would be like, all right, I get it. And then my kids would be in horror, like, Dad, stop laughing at monkeypox.
Right.
You can't laugh at that anymore, Dad.
I've gone on the whole journey.
Well, I'm just to be
That
willing
makes
to be
sense.
influenced by and to take in people's experience. I'm totally down for that. And I'm not perfect, but I also think we have to afford people to go on that journey a little bit, you know, and in comedy, there needs to be a space of mistake. There has to be a space of like, I'm going to push it a little farther than it needs to go and see where the edge is. And I don't know. And in truth, like, comedians don't have to have the answers, really.
Yeah.
They're just trying to tickle people. They're just trying to get them to giggle. And so it's not like a politician or someone like Donald Trump saying COVID's not real. Like, that's dangerous. A comedian crossing the line and laughing at monkeypox isn't as dangerous, because hopefully we're not looking to them for answers. And they're not the same sort of role model. If like Anthony Fauci said, go ahead and laugh at monkeypox, and then people are like, hey, we can't laugh at monkeypox, man. That would be a disaster. If the head of disease control said that or laughed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
In the spirit of like having tricky conversations about subjects where nobody knows all the answers. Because I have kids and they teach me a lot, and I've changed a lot, and I've become more awakened to other points of view. And they're incredibly more advanced than I was, incredibly more mature and concerned about the world, to the point where, you know, there's a lot of craziness going on. They take in almost too much. The world's very heavy. So it's...
Let's speak to that. Earlier you had said you want to be a man of purpose.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, right? That's what you'd like to do. How do you actually navigate that, being a man of purpose? And specifically as it relates to masculinity. Like, how do you navigate this conversation about masculinity, if it's toxic or not?
Okay.
And what are your feelings about that?
So can masculinity be toxic? Yes. I think when it's rigid, and you guys are more expert on this stuff, but I'll give you my gut reaction, and then you can pick it apart. But I think if you're too rigid, I think that's dangerous. I think sometimes too pressure to be a certain way can create anxiety and like stuff that isn't, you feel like, oh, I can't express this because it isn't male. Like, then you got to keep that somewhere, and that's really toxic. Like keeping your an expression of a part of you, or a significant part of you, or a small part of you, that's pretty dangerous. And I remember I was an English minor at Northern Illinois. We had to write a short story, and long story short, I had all these high school buddies who we used to drink too much with, and we were very normal, I think. And we had one night we were drinking, and it became all like lovey-dovey. He's like, I want to be honest, man. I really love you, and I appreciate it. And it was like this thing that nobody saw coming. It was a very seminal moment for the friends. It was like we were going off to war, but we weren't. We were just going back to college. But it was very like open for like goofy freshmen in college. And I ended up writing a paper about that. And it was one of my first A's in English, because this professor really liked the subject matter, and he really thought it was like an interesting take. And he said something. He's like, I sometimes feel like women have more latitude than men, that like they can be so many different things. They can wear men's clothes. Men can't wear women's clothes. They can do this, do that. And I suspect his journey was very tied into the limits of what a man can be. And he sort of gave me some information after that essay. And I remember those notes, and I remember the conversation after that essay. And I thought that was really interesting. So the limited nature of like the latitude of what we can be, like if women can be more things, according to one man in North Illinois, but if women can be, dip their toe in more worlds, let's say in 1990 or whatever it was when I talked to this professor, that was interesting to me. And that was like a key point. And that was a side of like, that was a vote for like, well, then being a rigid guy isn't a good idea, sort of.
And with that also then comes consequences for women, right? So women have more latitude emotionally.
Speak
but then...
for women, please. I want you to. I just threw a stereotype out there.
No, I think you're absolutely right. Yeah. And then right, it doesn't just curtail men's development and full expression of who they are, but then also impacts women and girls in a limited way too, or it limits them too. And I guess, you know, you're raising both girls and boys. And I'm curious, are you intentional in the way that you're raising your boys right now in this kind of current culture? And I don't know, have you talked about Roe being overturned and what that means?
Yeah, I think those are pretty commonsensical at our dinner table, like the lack of a woman being able to choose and how it affects mostly poor women, honestly. The repercussions of that decision are really just going to hurt, again, a lower class or, you know, less privileged class of folk in this country. And that's another reason why it's terrible. But in addition to, a woman's body is her body. So that's simple. So those are like, I think, ingrained, a lot of it from my wife. I don't really get credit for that, but I'm on board and we have those conversations. But I don't think they're awkward, or I think they're sort of second nature. I think that stuff's been out in the rooms with them a lot. So, and then as far as like, masculinity, I still like sports kind of. So I hope for them to be sporty kids. I don't know if that's masculine, but like our oldest kid, Jude, is gay and he's a great swimmer. And that was never an issue for us. And then our middle guy is now their gender. And I'm still doing it now, like non-binary, Emmy. And so that's.
How old are they?
Jude is 15, Emmy's 13.
So when you found out, or when your middle one said that they were they,
yes.
What was that experience like for you?
It came to us in 6th grade, and truthfully, 6 of the 13 kids in their graduating class had different pronouns. They were that whole
How many?
Like 6 of the 13 or 6 of the
Wow.
15.
Like half.
It's a common thing now. More and more kids are like choosing their pronouns, and it may have nothing to do with, I should know more about this, gender or sexuality. It's just identity stuff. And so I believe in some ways the revolution of the younger generation is around some of these issues. I really think that they're like, you guys are hung up on this gender binary, and like young kids, certainly in Los Angeles, seemingly could give a crap about any of that stuff. Like, so the stumbling block for me, when you said like your middle guy coming in as they, has always been, and still struggle, is the grammatical hammering of like, I went to like Catholic school and I went to like, it's like they is plural, and it's always like, so it's a lot of like they,
So was there any programming that you had growing up where when your middle child says that, I don't know, were there dreams of, I want my boy to be this or this or this, and then you had to kind of reconcile that in the moment? Was there, do you share that with your wife and you guys talk through it? Or was it just really like, oh, okay, well.
Yeah, I think it's more, I don't think I had a lot of expectations for my kids. Like,
That's rare. That's really sweet.
well, maybe it's not. Maybe I don't push them hard enough. Do whatever you want. Watch 8 hours of cartoons. I don't care. Just don't get hurt. In a simple way, like I don't know that I ever had expectations wise, what do I want? I want them to be respectful. I want them to listen. I want them to like do some chores. I guess I have expectations about like behavior, but as far as like goals of like, I want you to be a soccer player, I want you to be a weightlifter, I want you to be able to chop a tree with one arm or something. I don't know. I don't think I have that in me. I'm not that macho. So I don't know that I had any expectations, but it wasn't easy. I can't say like piece of cake. Like my understanding of non-binary is that you're just, in some ways they're rejecting the concept of they have to be a he. Like, why does they have to be a he? That's my take on it. Like, I can live as I am in the they. And so it's understanding the language around that. And
To be that young and to be processing all of this is, I mean, what was I thinking about when I was
oh my God,
in 6th
right?
grade? Like, I think about that, and it almost feels like that generation. And I'm not taking, and I want to be mindful, I'm not taking away anything about gender identity or anything, but it almost feels more like an energetic shedding of the patriarchy, the energetic shedding of the traditional ideas of the boxes that we've been putting each other in, versus I'm identifying as this and I'm attracted to these people. Because from what I've been learning about and reading about, many of them don't even have the attraction in them yet. It's about it's just like, I want to be me and choose my own thing. It could be a very evolved view of the world, and something that honestly I wish that we as adults could embrace, not specifically about gender, but about the notions and the ideas of who we've been told we have to be as it relates to our gender. But we're talking, when you're in 6th grade and younger, there's so many. I mean, God, the world is so complicated. Everything is such a huge deal, and so I don't actually have a thought here outside of like, wow, this is like it's kind of a profound thing to think about.
And is it a big deal is also kind of what I'm thinking about, right? Where there's this huge now national conversation around this issue. And there's, people who are against children being taught about gender identity in elementary school. And there are people who think this is too young. They shouldn't be thinking about this. And there are people sort of on the other side who are saying, no, we should and we must. And there's no one is too young to have these conversations. And I guess I wonder how, like, that feels like adults shouting at each other.
Well, it's no different. It's no different than what we're doing in general. It's the left and the right shouting at each other about
but
things.
also I think there's a generational thing here where to your point, there's a whole generational shift, and adults are kind of trying to grapple with it. And I guess we haven't really heard that much from kids. And I'm curious with your child, it seems like it's just like, oh, this is what I'm doing, and we think it's a big deal. But is it a big deal to younger kids who are growing up in this?
Well, the kids don't care. Like, again, I think in the slice that is like Los Angeles, the city that they all grew up in, they're very like, they don't care about it, seemingly. They don't care if you're gay or if you're they, or seemingly it's not an issue. Like, in a way that I don't think I can speak for my generation, which was, I don't know that we knew anyone gay until I don't think I knew anyone officially gay until I was in college.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a long time to go.
And if you did know someone, you weren't aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Well, it was too
there
hot.
were
It was
friends
too
who
risky.
later came out
Like,
that okay, that makes sense. So I did associate or hang with a few gay friends at the time, but they weren't out, and I didn't know enough of them to recognize anything. Not that it mattered.
I appreciate you sharing that that walk. Your oldest child expressed they were gay, and then your middle child being non-binary. So for me, my oldest daughter, who's now 32, when she was 20-something, told us that she was gay. I couldn't share with anyone that I was thrown by it. Because if I share that, then I'm homophobic and the truth was, so I kept it in for a minute and I didn't know what to do with it. And I have my programming and my learning and what I have always thought, boys with girls with boy, that's how it works, blah, blah, blah. And not to say that's right or wrong, but that's how I had been raised. So now my daughter's telling me that she's gay. And I remember having a conversation with her at Coco's restaurant, and she sat across from me, and I had asked her, baby, tell me what's going on with you, because she had not shared it quite out loud, but she was living a life that was clear. I said, why don't you tell me what's going on? And I could see she was hesitant. And I asked her, who is Jay in your life? And she says, she's my girlfriend. I was like, okay, I love you. She's like, do you mean that? I said, I love you with all of my heart. Here's what I will say. I might have someone learning to do or some learning to do. I cannot promise you that I am 100% giddy or not. But what I can promise you is you are free to live your life and to know that I love you and that you can come home every day and bring Jay over. And I support you on your journey. This is your journey between you and God and yourself and your walk of life. It's not to live according to how I walk. This is your journey, and I love and support you. And she appreciated the fact that I was honest. I didn't hide behind the fact that I was grappling with something. But yet she could feel my support. And I'm watching and I'm listening to like how you dealt with it in different people, because that is something that I feel a lot of men our generation, I'm 52, I think you said you're 56, that weren't prepared for it as much as maybe my son will be prepared for it if that happens in his life and he has a child. So we have to be able to have the freedom to say, oh, I'm not sure how to deal with that. What does that mean? Does that challenge? So I appreciate you sharing it. and me being able to say it and not have the fear of being ostracized or canceled because I'm being honest about like
we have to be able to have these conversations because nobody is perfect, and all of us are coming to the table with the ways that we were raised and ideas of things that we thought and maybe expectations, maybe not. And it's okay to be able to process that stuff and that we're real human beings.
And it's like, so I came up to my parents when I was 32 and I'm bisexual, and it was so late and I felt so embarrassed that I came out. No, it's okay. But like, because I grew up in a very progressive family, I have a master's in gender studies. Like I talk about all of this all the time. Right. I'm telling other people that it's safe and that I love them. But I'm keeping this secret from the people I'm the closest with. And what really struck me in that experience was that being bi is like not a big deal to me. It's like really not, in the same way that I'm sure you don't think about the fact that you're straight all the time. You're not like, oh, I'm attracted to, like, it's not a fundamental part of your identity. It's just something that you do.
Except that I don't walk through the world being put into a box because I'm straight. Whereas people being gay or being bisexual are in fact ridiculed oftentimes.
More defined by that. But moreover, it was the fact that it was a secret. And I wouldn't have made it a secret. But the fact that I didn't tell the fact that the assumption was that unless I told them otherwise, they believe I'm straight, right? Unless your child tells you otherwise, you're assuming a certain pronoun for them. Then that's the weight of it, is that it's somehow a secret. And as soon as it's not a secret anymore, it's actually not that much of a big deal. Mm-hmm. And so I guess I'm coming back to, again, this very elevated conversation that we're having politically, nationally. It feels like it's so elevated because it's about this thing that we're making so important because we're deciding should it be a secret or not. And maybe if we just decided it doesn't need to be a secret, it doesn't need to be something that you hide or you show. It just is. I identify with these pronouns. I like broccoli and I don't eat chicken and I'm vegetarian. Like, why is being vegetarian like something you do and that can change over time, right? It's not even, these categories also aren't fixed.
But I think for many people, and I'm not defending this position, but I think the reality is for many, choosing broccoli or choosing asparagus doesn't conflict with their personal understanding of science or morality or religion or whatever it may be.
But
right?
why is one more and one is not, I guess is my question.
I'm not saying that it is or not.
Why is food and right? Like we assign that to sex
I'm saying
and gender.
that is what's reality for so many people in the world.
Sure.
That is now challenging something that one may have a core belief about. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's why it's not as simple as I picked this gum or that.
But that is assigned, right? And I think I'm acknowledging what you're saying, and I think that's the opportunity to be like, oh, why is someone's preference with food, something I just go, okay, but their preference for intimate relationships is like a whole other thing I need to process and think about. And again, that I have to be comfortable with. Like, I just would love us to, again, I think it requires listening. I think it requires hearing each other. And to me, that's what comedy is.
Let me ask you this question. It says here in your bio that you are a 2-time Emmy-nominated actor.
Yes.
Keyword Emmy-nominated. So what do we have to do so it says Emmy winner instead of nominated? And how do you feel about that? Is there any thing that you feel like, shit, I haven't won? Does it make you feel less than? Does it make you feel like you're not as accomplished? Does it do something to your ego? Tell us about that.
I can honestly say I don't really care that I didn't win. Like, in the moment when you're there and you're at the awards, it's a real bummer and you don't want to go to the party afterwards. That is true. But you figure a way out, and then many of your friends have won and you have fun. But the truth is, for me, but of course I'd like to win. This isn't just rationalization. I would love to win, and I was invested in it. Once I sat in that chair at that ceremony, I'm like, what if I won? Oh my God, I don't really know what I'll say. And then you don't win, of course. So, but in the moments after, and even before, it's like at the end of the day, comedy at least, you remember who's funny. Like you remember Frasier's funny, but you don't remember he won 10 Emmys. Like you remember Seinfeld's funny. He might not have won. He probably won an Emmy. Like Julia obviously has won a million, but which is a whole other thing. Like she's a generational talent, so that's different. But like at the end of the day, you sort of just remember like, oh, that guy's funny. Like Jim Carrey is so funny. I couldn't tell you how many awards he's won and what awards he's won. But if you're delivering the goods and people get you, and we have fans or I have fans, it's like that's really
It's about the work.
the best.
It's about the work.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the best. If people appreciate you and see you as like, oh, that guy's good, then that's really the best. So,
And I have interestingly enough the opposite thing where I've always felt like I've never felt seen. So like I was never homecoming, like prom. When we would, do you have that in Canada? Emily finds this barbaric, and it really is a barbaric thing. This idea of voting for the popular
prom
kids.
queen,
yeah.
When I wrote about that in my book, she was like, "Wait, you guys do that? You vote for who's popular? This sounds terrible. This is why Sweden is such a great country." But so I've never been nominated, and so I've always been like, I'm not a part of the cool club. So even the idea for me of getting nominated would be winning. Like when the show I was on was invited, when we were nominated for a Golden Globe, I wasn't nominated. We were collectively, I was like ready to retire.
The attention that people celebrating with me was awesome. And then I guess in a career-driven industry, you're like, oh, I wonder if this helps my career. It must help my career, right? So that's like the professionalism in me is like, good. All right, that's good. And then, but I don't know, like if I felt, I don't know. I didn't feel on the inside now. And I never felt cool. I can honestly say I never felt cool. It's not like I felt like I didn't belong here. It's just like any party I go to, I was like, I'll find like 5 people to talk to.
Yeah.
And then the big swirl could be over there. There could be a group of alphas over here, and it doesn't bother me. They can win the day or they can do whatever. And I'll find my friends. And then lo and behold, I'll run into more friends, and I'll sort of navigate my life that way.
Yeah.
And art is such a weird thing to vote on.
It is.
Yeah.
Every movie, we make movies here at the studio. So every movie's a miracle. Every show's a miracle. Your performance is your performance. You can't compare that to somebody else. I don't know. That's just my thing with award shows and voting. But that all could be because of my underlying trauma of never being invited to. So forget everything that I just said.
I was nominated for one category. I had 3 nominations out of 4 for a best song.
Was that the Grammys?
No, this is the Emmys.
That's cool.
3 out of 4 got all dressed up. My wife and I go 3 out of 4.
Wait. 3 out of 4 meaning?
In the same category. So
You were-
3 out of 4
Three different songs. Three
different songs.
you
that
had
I've
3
done
different songs.
nominated for best song.
Oh, no.
Out of the 4.
I know where this is going.
And I lost.
I didn't know you were.
Got there.
Oh wait, I didn't know
Yeah.
you were an Emmy-nominated composer.
I am indeed.
That's
But
even
3
more painful.
out of 4.
That
How
is
do you
so
lose that
painful.
one?
Wow, that's losing 3 times.
That is
Losing
so
3
painful.
times. I mean, yeah.
You got to feel like, odds are I'm going to win.
Yeah.
You're not even being confident. You're just being logical.
You got the whole
One
thing
time when I
worked
was
out.
20,
That's so painful.
I was new to LA. It was pilot season, and I was the only person that they screen tested for a job, and I didn't get it. It was a comedy. That's probably why.
But we're all laughing, right? And I think that's your true power is just the power of comedy to not just add levity, but to actually help you process life and process. I mean, we were talking about this earlier, even with gender issues and controversial things that we talk about on this podcast, mental health issues. What is the role of sort of comedy for
my
you
gosh.
in those moments?
In the moments of
Failure, of vulnerability, of disappointment.
Well, I think sometimes it's a defense mechanism for avoiding going deeper or avoiding engaging in a moment that makes you uncomfortable. So unfortunately, sometimes it's that. So I'll deflect a moment as opposed to really trying to understand it or just let go and be in it. That's quite honest. And then other times it's useful to cheer up, my kids maybe, or cheer someone up. And then, I don't know, sometimes it's just like to make things more fun, try to find something funny in it when it's too serious. And then there's probably some elements of like attention-seeking behavior. I'm a middle child, so I like attention on my terms. So I try to be funny and identify with being funny, which isn't the whole 100% of who I am, but it's a part of me. And I'm comfortable with that part of me. So that has something to do with my like inserting humor into rooms or moments.
And comedy, this is something that, Rainn Wilson is one of our dear friends, and he is an idiot. And I say that with a lot of love and affection. He's a complete idiot. I hope
you're way better socially than he is.
But
he's a very talented man.
He is, but he deals with such sensitive subjects in a way that I could never, or another could never, because of his comedy and because he's a way to bring up something that we're all thinking about or feeling, and yet he puts the right amount of thing in there that makes it easier to swallow. And you clearly, obviously, as an improv king, are able to deal with sensitive subjects and masculinity in a way that many can't.
Let's hope so. I don't know. I mean, I may just put a better face on when I'm on podcast too. I mean, I could be a monster when I go home. I could just have my podcast persona.
That's true.
Yeah.
And then I have my monster persona at home.
In the spirit of vulnerability, I'm going to admit something.
Yeah.
I have always secretly wanted to be funny. And I am always told by my friends that I'm not that funny. But it stopped me from, when I was younger and started acting, it stopped me from going to improv and from your school, because I had to be, at least present the way some of my core trauma was. I had to present like I was good at something, because I was always really good at the things that I chose to do. And then I never did the things that I wasn't. I would do them privately, but I would never do them publicly. And improv forces you to be vulnerable publicly. It perhaps might be the most vulnerable form of a theatrical expression, because you don't have lines. You're not necessarily, you can't redo takes. You're in front of a live audience, and it's just what comes through you. And it seemed to be a very vulnerable process. And I was too afraid to learn how to do improv. And I think it's why Jamie to this day doesn't think that I'm very funny.
Tell us how many times you've fallen on your face improvising, because obviously, as he just said, I mean,
sure, bajillion.
Sure. So, but I find that I find that really courageous for when people do. I find stand-up comics very courageous.
Well, yeah, I think stand-up comedy is the hardest, because you're solo.
And you're alone, yes.
Yeah, and you're alone. And with improv or sketch, you have people to commiserate with if the show is terrible. So you can go out and have a drink with people and go, wow, what was going on? I don't know, I was terrible. I was really? Oh, good, because I felt like I was the only one who's terrible. So you have that built into the team sport of improv. But, yeah, I mean, it's hard. You're being sincere. Like it's something you want, and something you couldn't catch, or you didn't.
Yeah. So maybe I'll take a class at some point.
Sure.
Maybe I'll take a class. Do you?
Let's do one right now.
No. No.
Do improv.
Do the class. Do the class.
No.
Do
the class.
Part of this show, part of what we're doing, is trying to have these conversations and model that vulnerability, because that was something that I never saw growing up. And I respect that in a lot of comedians. How much do you think in comedy and improv, and I'll specifically ask about men, are doing it to mask how we're like actually feeling? Because we can't talk about the things that we're feeling. So you can't maybe talk about what's happening in your life. So you put it into comedy, and that becomes almost therapy.
I mean, you write what you know, so your life inevitably comes out in your creative stuff. So sure, there's some therapy in there. I also think, like, in the way that we didn't want to talk about monkeypox, I don't think in a comedy show you want to tackle these sad issues or something. People are there to laugh, so you steer clear of stuff that's going to be like heavy or depressing, or you don't want to remind people of the guy who got hit by the car out front last night.
Right.
When they're sitting in a comedy theater. You're just going to keep going and be in the moment and try to provide some laughs. And and all of us have like a joyous time would be the simple goal, or be funny. So you avoid those subjects because that's not what comedy is necessarily for. Not that you can't go anywhere with it, but I think in an improv show, your instincts are to avoid, if something feels dark or heavy or like, oh man, that is not, I don't want to see that. Or it goes to a place where people are like, then you just kind of steer out of it and clean the slate and start something new.
Do you hope we can start to laugh more as a nation, as a culture? Do you think that would help bring us together if we could like laugh with each other instead of maybe at each other?
I don't know that we're not laughing though. Like, I guess what makes you think we're not laughing anymore? Like, that's my question.
Good question.
Thank you.
I guess by just the thought of, are we allowed to laugh at that?
Because there's a narrative going around,
So
obviously, about, we can't laugh anymore at this. We can't laugh. Everyone's too sensitive to can't do
Well,
this.
I've just heard a lot of comedians actually say that.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've discussed the underlying reasons why we can't, which kind of goes back to the comedy of it, which is what makes something funny. If I laugh at the person who's disabled, that's not funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I understand what you're saying, because people in a social media world are going to have reactions to everything. And so inevitably something you thought was well thought of and sensitive could flame up an internet thing or a Instagram thing or a TikTok thing. I don't know. You could suffer and enrage, and people could claim that you're traumatizing them with your material. So that I understand. So I don't have a good answer for that. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't do stand up. I do podcasts. So let me know what the comments are on this one.
But I think one of the great things about UCB that I, as just again going through and doing improv classes, and was that they told us straight up, kind of some of the rules that kind of ensured that the comedy was not safe, but just like inclusive, right? Like if you're kind of including everybody, which again is just about collaboration, it's not a political thing, right? So one thing is, my sister did improv growing up, and she told me, and she's now 40, so she was like, you were always someone's girlfriend or the wife. Like if you were in a scene with a guy, you'd end up like, because it's all about collaboration, right? You're both there making it as you go, but the woman ends up that. And I remember them saying that at the beginning. They're like, don't do that, guys. Right? Like don't turn her into your supporting character. Which we want to teach our children, which we want to teach any team that works together, right? Even a Wayfarer here on this set, if one person's not listening to it just doesn't work.
What did you say?
See, you are funny.
I got 3 laughs.
You can't count your laugh. You only got 2.
Or was it a courtesy laugh?
It was clever. It was clever.
Thanks. I'm truly trying, guys. This is my audition for UCB.
How do you think comedy can be used as a source of changing culture for the good, having impact in that way?
This feels like a press conference for the world right now. And I have to come up with a great answer. I got to be honest. Like, I avoid these conversations. Like, I don't read comments. I don't, like, a perfect bubble for me is like, write a funny script. I'll embody it. I'll come up with funnier jokes, extending your ideas, and then I'll go hide for a while until my next project. Like, I don't know how to speak for anyone. Like,
no, but I mean
that's
for
powerful,
you
though. I also think that's it. Like, everyone doesn't have to know everything and have an opinion about everything too, right?
I agree, except for that.
Good.
But let me push back just a little bit.
Sure.
My thought is, we all have ultimately obligations. I believe an obligation to make, to bring forth an ever advancing civilization, to make our children better than we are.
Yes.
So that we keep progressing and be better towards each other, better to women, better to people of color, better to the marginalized groups of people. And that weighs heavier the responsibility for people who have more privilege. One of the things that you do contribute to the world is acting, comedy, joy, laughter. Is that one of the ways that you feel you can do that?
I feel like me helping make the world better for the future is the things I do. Like, helping a call to men or supporting. I have a charity group. We meet once a month and we give out like microloans of things that make LA more awesome. I help with open books. We put these books with like gender creative heroes, so kids in elementary school who are considering where they fit in can see a hero in a book in the middle of Iowa, or hopefully, or wherever, and they'll go, oh, I'm not alone. And then also the kids in the class who are like, I think I got a cousin like that, who don't identify with that, but it just sort of normalizes things and gives a little hope here and there. Like those things I feel like I do with like direct charity or fundraisers. Like if there's a political candidate I like or an issue I like, I'll throw money at it. Or like the guy in Illinois, Sean Casten, who's like an environmentalist congressman, which there's like 2 in Congress. You know, I do fundraisers for him. So like, I feel like my affecting change where I feel like I'm directly trying to make the world better for my kids and everyone's kids and move the needle forward. So those things I feel like are more effective. Comedy, I don't know.
That makes sense.
I really don't know. Like, because to me, I feel like I always say this, but like music's more powerful than comedy. Music transports us, takes us to what we could be as a species or as a group, or as like, oh my God, we're traveling to Mars. Listen to that music. You know, it's like really transporting. And like comedy reminds us is that we're dumb animals. Like, oh my God, I am that dumb animal. Like every laugh that ultimately hits us to the core is reminding us, oh my God, I am that stupid. Or I did do that once. Honey, am I like, yes, oh my God, that's so funny. So you're constantly like knocking us back with comedy. You're not elevating us. You're not saying like we as a race can get along, or we as a people can get along, or we as genders can get along, or I don't know. Like you're not saying that with comedy, I think. Although to that end, obviously Richard Pryor broke ground and did a lot for race relations, honestly, because he talked about taboo things. I don't have that history, or I don't have that baggage, because I did not have a tough childhood. I did not grow up in a whorehouse. You know, I did not, get discriminated against. So I'm someone of privilege. So I should shut up, quite honestly, right? I should listen. I should be on the side of the room and watching and listening and chip in when necessary. Or when someone writes me in, then I'll come in, So I don't know what comedy does for anything, really.
Wow.
Love that.
I love that
Great
answer.
answer.
Thank you for that.
It has allowed you to serve in the other ways.
That's right.
I guess so, yeah. Like my success, hopefully, I'm giving back in... I give eggs to my friends.
You do.
That's
eggs
sweet.
that I grow on my little yard.
Walsh Farm?
But that's humble.
Walsh Farms.
It's a quite humble stance, too, because one could respond with, yeah, comedy is actually, it does this for humanity. It does this, and I'm contributing in a big way. And what you just said is, this is a way to laugh. Okay, great, cool. I'm contributing that way. But here's the other ways that I'm actually advancing humanity. And that takes humility to acknowledge that.
Well, it's also more tangible. Like, it's nebulous whether, like, my comedy show makes you less aggressive and less of a creep in the parking lot after the show. Like, I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
I think it does.
So it's, well, sure, you can say that, but there aren't longitudinal studies. There aren't case studies. It said 90% of the creeps who go to comedy shows are less likely to be offenders 6 months after that show. Like, nobody knows.
Right. We should launch the first one.
I do a golf outing, which you'll be invited to, for Defy Ventures, which gets men and women who come out of prison and teaches them to get jobs, because we live in a capitalist society. If you don't have a job, you don't have value. So they get them degrees. And so it's like these people have served their time. Now let's reintegrate them and let's give them mentorship. And so that's like a tangible thing for an underdog. Like, show me the underdog and I'll help out. Like, I'll show up for the underdog. So like, that's tangible. Not that it's going to, I don't know what percentage of the population, there's still discrimination in prison populations. It's a nightmare. But you can do little things, and you have to have faith in little things. So those changes, I hope, make a little difference. And they make me feel like I'm hopefully doing what you said, which is like, maybe we can pass this thing on a little bit better, hopefully.
Yeah. And it's about doing, not like saying what you're going to do or saying how people should feel, but it's like just doing it.
There's a lot of talented people. There's a lot of funny people. There's a lot of great actors. There's a lot of great musicians. There's a lot of great people. There's not as many maybe that feel the privilege of being able to help in other ways. So I walk away now, not just Matt, the success story. I go, Matt, the guy that's doing some of these other things over here, and that's the guy I want to know and hang out with. Appreciate that. Appreciate
That's very
you.
nice.
And I just want some of your eggs. So
It could happen. I might,
I'm
if I have
excited.
enough when I get up to Ojai in the next coming weeks.
That would be
I'll-
There you
that
go,
would be
great.
awesome.
I'll have an omelet.
Final question, Matt Walsh. What does it mean to you to be man enough?
You guys should have emailed me this a day or two before. This is really like gotcha stuff here. Man enough? Is this, I'm going to ask a question to buy myself some time. Man enough as in, what advice would I give to someone? Or when I'm questioning my manhood, what do I fall back on?
What do you
Man enough, the name of the podcast, the name of the book that I wrote. You know, did you do your research before you came on this
by
show?
the way,
What does it mean
To
to
you.
be man enough in the sense of we're reclaiming that word, we're
Okay.
redefining that word, we're throwing it all out.
As a man, I can own this, right?
You,
As a
whatever it
man-
means
Yes.
to you.
Don't be worried.
There's
All
no
right.
gotcha here. You can't.
I know
You don't
there's
have
no
a wrong
gotcha.
answer.
I know there's no gotcha. You guys are on my side. What does man enough mean to me? I feel like man enough to me means take care of your health.
Great.
I like that.
That's all I can say.
Yes.
You want to be man enough, take care of your health.
Mm.
Get some exercise, try to eat well, try to be smart, read some stuff, get some fresh air, go visit nature. You want to be man enough, do those things.
I like that.
Love.
That's a challenge.
And we know
to
that what
I love that.
68% of men do not go to the doctor even though they need to.
Say it again, Russ.
Really?
It's like 68% of men don't go to the doctor
That's stupid.
even though they have a reason to because they think it's unmanly to have something wrong with them.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so
So
dumb.
you just,
well, I shouldn't say dumb
de-
because I'll get in trouble, but it seems dumb.
Silly.
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 It does.
Goofy.
Listen, you silly heads.
Sorry, Matt. You
Who
just
don't believe in Western medicine, the stuff that gave us the vaccine. Go see a Western or an Eastern doctor. Yeah, I believe in that too.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just
Any
see someone
doctor.
about your
just
health,
see somebody.
whatever that is.
'Cause
Well, you
you'll
look
beat
really
it.
healthy. And
Knock
you
on
are,
wood.
You are man enough.
You're
So-
in better shape. You're probably in better shape.
What do you mean probably? Why probably?
Well, look at this guy.
What do you mean
He's kind of
probably?
ripped. Look at you. Don't have what he. This is like. There's a lot more beef here. I mean, you're a talented athlete. You're a great golfer.
I just look like one.
Are you a distance runner? How's your cardio? How's your cardio?
Do you think?
Do you run?
No.
All right, then you're not in better shape than him. If he started chasing you out of the parking lot, who would run out of gas first?
Oh, I would. And-
Yeah.
But he would get injured before.
I want to see you two race.
Oh no.
Thank you so much for being here, man. We always say this at the end to those who actually deserve it. You are enough. So thank you for
You
being
sure
here.
are.
Thank you, Matt.
And
So back at
we
you.
appreciate it. You guys have the same shirt on, by the way.
Do we?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
same style.
Same shirt,
We
same
changed
style.
them white. Yeah,
If you, as always,
Mine's-
if you like
mine's a
the
little nicer,
podcast,
though.
like and subscribe to us
Fill
wherever you
mine.
get your
Fill
podcasts.
mine.
And while they talk about their shirts and golf, Liz,
Yeah.
thank you for being here
Fair
with
enough.
me.
Thank you, Justin.
Yours is
We'll
more
let them
Target,
hang
mine's
out.
more like
We'll see you next time. This is Man Enough.
Thanks for playing along.
Fuck.